Hello, welcome to A Fishing Surprise, a story by Rae McDonald, illustrated by Kathleen Kemly. Hello, I'm Rae McDonald, and I'm glad you clicked on my video today. I am an author for kids, that might be you out there, and kids also for your friends and for those folks who read along with you and enjoy a good story. As I mentioned, I'm an author. I'm also an illustrator, an artist, and most important of all things I think I do are discover small wonders of the world. And I often do that while I'm riding my bike. And I want to tell you about a book that I wrote that was inspired by a bike ride. It's called A Fishing Surprise, and it was illustrated by Kathleen Kemly. A fishing surprise, well, listen to that title, surprise. That sets me up for something exciting inside. But truly, it began as a surprise for me. One hot August day, I decided to hop on my bike. I have a stream near me, and I love to ride along that stream. And when I ride along the stream, I see lots of small and amazing wonders. I see all the animals that are drawn to the water, ducks, and it's most fun when ducks are with their baby ducklings in the spring. Sometimes a big Canada goose or a stick-leg heron might be there, and when I see a heron, I'm fascinated by their long legs, but if he sees me first, or she makes this most loud cawing, clacking sound and flaps its wings and is off and off before I have a chance to even get close. I see frogs and fish, sticklebacks, baby salmon. I see occasionally a muskrat with wet brown fur and his whiskery grin who dives quickly. He's quite shy. Oh, I wish I were small enough to explore his hide-and-seek tunnels along that muddy shore. But I'm not his size. So I watch, and I see, occasionally I'll see a house cat down by the stream, maybe hunting for a mouse, which would be a great surprise to see that happen. And once in a while I will see a snake in the grass, crayfish moving on the bottom of the stream. It's always full of wonders, and I tell my family, they've heard me say this many times, and friends too, that I think water might be the most precious thing or object or resource on earth. But then I was thinking again too that maybe it's oxygen instead of water. So maybe I'm not right. Maybe water's not the most precious thing, but oxygen is. I'll have to have a battle with myself over that one. I know fresh water is definitely a precious resource, and I love riding along it. And maybe it's because when I was in grade school, my sister, 2 years older than we lived near a Minnesota lake, and we spent the summers upside down with our goggles on, exploring every inch of the bottom of the lake that was in front of us. Oh, we went fishing with our bobbers in the water with a minnow or a worm on the line, and we would row in the rowboats and watch to see what was below the surface, and it was always fascinating. Well, this hot August day of the surprise, I was riding my bike, and for some reason, as I set out from home, buckled up my helmet, got on my bike, I decided to ride my usual route in reverse. So I would end up coming along where the stream was flowing towards me instead of floating with me as I went down the path. And I'm lucky enough to live in a small town that I almost feel like sometimes I'm in the countryside. There aren't too many cars, and I can ride along the stream and through the park and feel like I'm away from the world. And so I'm riding along, and finally I come around the loop that takes me to the stream, and I'm riding along, searching the water for wonders, as I always do. And indeed, one day, that very day, I saw it coming down the stream. Not one, but two in a row. There were apples floating in the stream. And I thought, wait a minute, apples in the stream. Did someone toss them there? But they look too fresh off a summer tree to be tossed in the water. So I pick up my pace a little bit and ride a little faster, going against the stream, trying to see, was there an apple tree here that I had never seen before? And sure enough, as I came toward the end of this area, there were two big evergreen trees that I've always noticed hanging over the water. But I hadn't noticed that this area was a place where there was an old farm. Someone had planted an apple tree long ago, and one long branch stretched through those evergreens, and it was full of apples. And being the end of summer in August, they were getting ripe, and they were dropping plip, kerplop in the stream. And at that moment, I thought, wow, this is an amazing wonder. And I didn't even notice that tree before. I didn't notice it bloom or bees around it for the blossoms to make apples. I hadn't noticed any of it until they had dropped in the stream. And it was on that day then, as I rode toward home, that I thought, I have to tell my family about this. This is just pretty exciting. And I thought about, what would the fish do when they saw the apples bubbling in the stream? What would the heron do? Surely the heron would be a scaredy cat. And I thought about the frogs. Maybe they would bounce from apple to apple. What would happen as they saw those apples coming down the stream? And it was on that day that I decided that it was time to write a book. And when I got home, I got out some paper and jotted my ideas down, but just apples dropping in the stream was a surprise, but it wasn't really a story. So I had to think about coming up with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Would the animals be the characters? Would they be the ones that enjoy the apples or have a problem with the apples? But I decided to put, like my sister and I decided to put two kids in the story. And that's how Fishing Surprise came to be. And you can see there on the cover here, Kathleen Kemly created a boy and a girl. That was her decision. And they have their fishing poles and their bobbers in the water with worms waiting for the fish to bite. And this is how I began the story. Okay, should we take a look inside this book, A Fishing Surprise? I won't read it all to you because I don't want to give the surprise totally away. Maybe you'll have a chance to check this book out at your local library or order it from a favorite bookstore. But there are lots of surprises inside, and you may notice them all on your own. Here's the way it goes. It begins, well, when I open the end papers of the book, notice that it starts out, we're hungry for lots of fish. The end papers give me a little clue to this story when I'm reading it. So here we go. Let's find page 1. Here we go. Sunny day, lays and play, toss the line, it's fishin' time. And if you look really closely, there are some worms in the bucket, nets for dipping fish. Mom and Dad back at the cabin say, we're hungry for fish tonight. And just off down the stream, just a bit, the fish are waiting. Let's take a look and see. Turn the page. Worms a-wiggling, lots of giggling, holding tight, bobbers in sight. We're hungry for fish tonight. Now, what is a bobber? Take a look right here. A bobber is something that goes on your fishing line. There's a little hook at the top. You can see a little shiny piece in there that hooks onto your fishing line. And then it hooks onto the bottom where there's another little shiny hook. And it floats bobs on top of the water like a bobber, bobs on top of the water. And the line goes down. And, of course, you're going to have your bait there like a worm, a wiggly worm, or maybe a minnow. And if that bobber should go under the water, you know something has tugged it. And maybe there's a fish on the line. I'm going to set it right here by these little rascals. So, we're hungry for fish tonight. And you can see that it's a sunny day. And the water is trickling along the stream there. And everybody's hopeful, just like I was when I went fishing. The last time and every time. Well, out of view, breezes blew, apples dropped, plip kerplop. Do you remember when I was riding my bike and I saw apples in the stream? Well, there, Kathleen Kemly drew a little map of the book, and she had to put in that apple tree. And you know why. There's something surprising coming down that stream. Well, what would the ducks think when they saw those apples? What would they think? Do you remember now all the animals that I told you about when I rode my bike? The ducks, the geese, the heron, the great blue heron with his stick legs and his scaredy eyes. Turtles, frogs, what would they all think? Well, of course, the frogs noticed those apples. Would they spin and twirl, or would they hop and bump? How about, let's see what would come next. How about those turtles where it was so quiet in the bend of the stream? Does anyone know if turtles like apples to eat? Seems to me like they like green leafy vegetables. And here's my favorite, the scaredy cat heron. That looks just like that and is slightly spooked with those apples down the stream. Well, those apples are moving along. Meanwhile, the kids are fishing and the sun is getting hotter and there's no fish biting. But when they look up, what do they see? There's that surprise in the stream. Look at their faces. How surprised are they to see what's come down the stream? First one, then two in a row. Apples boating. Well, no fish biting. Mom and Dad are hungry for fish tonight, and they are biting. If you were by that stream and you had a bucket and a net, what would you do? Would your nets dip and apples flip? Oh my gosh, collect those apples as fast as you can. Feet are slipping. Woo, watery rocks, slip and slide. Fill up your buckets. Flip those apples from your net to your bucket until you've collected enough apples for apple dinner. Oh, walked a mile, got a rest a while. So the kids decided to sit down in the shade of a tree on the shore. And they looked up, and what did they see? Tree! It was you! Yoodly-doo! It's the apple tree that had given them those apples. And did anyone hear a word, yoodly-doo? When you're a writer, writers are really pretty lucky people because they get to make up words, they get to make up stories, they get to decide what happens next. Oh my gosh. The artist gets to decide what to put on the pages. Making books is so much fun. Well, pretty soon it was time to run, time to get home. Mom and Dad would be checking on them down by the stream. And so they headed toward home. And what will Mom and Dad say? Oh, hey, did you catch any fish today? And what will they say? Do they have a surprise? They'll say, we'll sing and shout and we'll haul our catch out and we'll yell, surprise! We're hungry for apple pie. And there it is in the fish fry pan, which is now an apple pie pan. Do you think you could make an apple pie in a frying pan? One that you could put in the oven? Well, if you check my website, Raemcdonaldauthor.com, you'll see the pie that I baked in a fry pan. And Kathleen Kemly tried it too, just to make sure. You know, she's the illustrator. She tried it too, just to see if she could do it also. I'll show you her picture. And here's a picture she drew of the pie. Kathleen is the one closest to the pie, and there am I before I got my glasses. So Kathleen Kemly made a pie too. And do you remember I showed you end papers? And now we're at the very end of the book, and the kids did not bring home fish, but they brought home apples. Clue to the story at the very, very end. A fishing surprise. That was lots of fun. I loved taking my bike rides, and I loved seeing all the animals, and I still go every single day I can, and I still ride the same path. And now you know how I got inspired to write this story, and maybe you will search around your area for small wonders, inside or outside, when it's safe to go out with family and friends, safe to go out and be a discoverer, kind of explorer of the world. Small wonders are the best, and you know how much I like water too. Behind me here on the wall, I wonder if anyone can see on the wall, back in the very, very corner here, is a bird. This bird is not in the story, but this bird is always with me when I work in my room here, this studio, where I've painted one wall pink and one blue and one green and one yellow, and it's my very happiest place to work. This is where stories and art get made, and I call that bird my blue bird of happiness, blue bird of happiness. And when I come in here, I'm always happy. Today, I am going to add a little bit to this video and show you some pictures of the places that I ride my bike, the apple tree location. I wanted to tell you though, the apple tree that was hanging over the water that I saw that inspired my story is gone, and it's been replaced by a lovely wetland area. But there is still a surprise growing in that wetland area, and you'll have to watch for it. There is one other surprise in the book. Did anyone wonder why there was some raccoons sitting right here? Well, I don't know if you noticed it, but this fishing surprise book has more than one surprise. Kathleen Kemly, the great artist that she is and great thinker, and she has lots of fun with her pictures. At the very beginning, there was a raccoon family. You may have noticed that. And that raccoon family, when they should be napping, Mama's napping in the tree here, the two little raccoons decide to follow the kids. And what did they bring home? Did anyone notice? When you read this book, you'll want to watch for the raccoons on nearly every page, because they are on a hunt for those small wonders too. And here you'll have to look carefully because they're peeking in the water. At the very end, did you notice who else came home with apples besides the kids? Let me put this up close so you can see. Mama says, "Where have you little rascals been?" But maybe they're not quite so much in trouble because they brought home apples too. So the surprise in this book also are two little raccoons, two mischievous raccoons who like to go down by the waterside. All right. Watch for the pictures that come next, because they're going to help you see what I saw in order to write this story. So I hope I see you soon. Maybe somewhere near me, bookstore, maybe on another YouTube video. Thanks now. Bye-bye. Okay, let's find our bikes and go for a little bike ride. Let's go on down to the stream. I want to show you the place where the old apple tree grew, right here on this spot. There's the stream that still flows by, and there's that big fir tree that the apple tree grew beneath. But that old apple tree is gone, was taken down. The apple tree was taken down for a new wetland space, and you can see it under development. The fir tree still stands, watching the spot. And I miss that old scraggly tree, but the new wetland works so well for life and animals and plants. And if you look just beyond those orange flags, a new apple tree is growing. And this is the time of the year where I took a picture. It's budding, and a budding apple tree means hooray, there are apples on the way. Each one of those buds may become an apple if it stays on, it's pollinated and it grows. Soon to be apples. And the flowers are beautiful. I'll be happy when they grow and the deer and the raccoons find them. Delicious. But let's look closer. See that stream? Who could be visiting the stream today? Is there a duck in the grass, a frog, a heron? I see somebody out there. Are there fish in the stream? A goose family. Look closely. Small wonders sometimes hide, like these ducklings. They're off to the water. And there they are, swimming. Natural swimmers. Whose fin is that? Maybe a fish leaping? And there's the heron watching. He would like a fish tonight. Water, water, we need you. You are so important to our world. Here's the very lake that I swam in when I was 8 years old. Water, you are precious. Water for trees, water for life. Sunshine too. Water and sunshine makes yummy apples for pie. Now it's your turn to discover. Look up. There's an observant heron. Look down. What will you see? A tiny small wonder. Look this way. You might spy something unusual down by the stream. Thanks for visiting today. I hope I'll see you soon, maybe out on a bike ride. Keep exploring and look for discoveries around every corner.